Hello, all my um, internet friends, shall we call you? And thank you for all the feedback I've been getting lately, which is great. And my TV programs are getting absolutely fantastic. 25,000 views a month on my TV channel. Let me get myself in the right position. There we go. Get in the centre of things. Right in the centre of things. That's what we need. Right. Now, today I'm going to get serious as I always do. You know, the old git likes to have a rant, and I believe what I rant about, it makes sense. And you see the backdrop going behind me there, you might guess what it's about. But before we go there, before I go into the main body of this video, which, I think you should all listen to, let me just explain something. A lot of the clips that I'm going to play you, the clips will have, you'll have to read because it's in a different language, obviously, but the captions on each clip are in English, so you can read what the person's actually saying. Not all of them, but some of them. So just think about that whilst you watch this this video. Now, let's clear something up first, shall we? All the protests calling Israel perpetrators of genocide, when all they're trying to do is to live peacefully in their own country. But they are constantly under attack from barbaric 14th century cults. And how many wars have they had to fight? Well, let's first of all clear this up, because I need to do this before we go into where, if you're talking about genocide, we're going to talk about genocide. That's what we're going to talk about. But anyway, let's clear it all up, shall we? Israel. Now, Israel have been attacked. In 1948-49, the War of Independence, they were attacked by Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, with Arab militias. Okay? In 56, Suez Crisis, confrontation with Egypt over the Suez Canal and Sinai. 1967, the Six-Day War, attacked by Egypt, Jordan, Syria, with Iraqi and Arab support. 1973, the Yom Kippur War, surprise attacks from Egypt and Syria, backed by Iraqi, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. 1982, the Lebanon War, fighting against the PLO in Lebanon, and then later Hezbollah. 2006, the Second Lebanon War, attacked by Hezbollah, rockets and raids from Lebanon. And 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, the Gaza has been repeatedly rocketed and terror attacks by Hamas and Islamic Jihad from Gaza. Okay, so these people are constantly under attack and only want to live in their own land. I've left the last till best, which is 2023. In October the 7th, a massacre they came over, and everybody knows what happened, unless you're a complete muppet and too thick to see what went on. But surprise assault attack by Hamas and Gaza, and that was one of the deadliest attacks that they've ever had. Now, genocide. I have to protest, because I believe that Israel are not committing genocide. They're at war with a country that shouldn't exist, that doesn't exist, and the war wasn't started by them, as some misinformed, stupid people believe. They were attacked on October the 7th. They came over and children were massacred. They were beheaded. They were cooked in ovens. And many other atrocities were performed on the Jewish community there. Young people at a concert were shot dead, and also they were taken hostage. And they've been hostages for the last 3 years, and many have died, and apparently there's about 20 left which they hope to get back. Now, there is moves to make peace. Frankly, I don't think Hamas want peace, and I don't think certain other countries want peace. They don't want Israel to exist. From the rivers to the seas, that's what they keep shouting. They don't want a non-Muslim country on Arab soil. End of story. So you stupid, trendy, champagne lefties that go out with your little hats and scarves and all the other crap that you wear, it's a trend for you. It's something that you are just going to go out and do. But let's get to real genocide. That's cleared me up as far as I'm concerned with Israel. But let's talk, shall we, about real genocide. Now, I'm going to talk about only three countries in this video, okay? And my message today is for all you misinformed fools who go out to defend terrorists. Do they ever wonder why Muslims leave Muslim countries to inhabit non-Muslim countries? And then, through the process of having kids and bringing into their extended families and becoming more demanding of the hosts, eventually imposing their ideology on the country. And you say, that's a modus operandum. I've spoke to it before, and a lot of people have seen my videos, and they understand what I mean by that. Lebanon used to be a Christian country. And they took the Palestinians in when they were under threat, and they took a lot of Arabs in, and then they introduced them into the government, and then, bam, Lebanon was taken over through force and massacre and genocide. Now, there's almost 100 conflicts going on in the world today. Horrific genocide is taking place in many countries. And the common denominator in most of these genocidal wars is radical Islam. No, you can't blame Islam for everything, but a lot of the conflict that's going on is caused by the radical Islam. Now, I must also say, again, and I'm making it clear, that not all Muslims are radical Muslims. Many of the Muslims that went to the UK and Europe just went to settle and make a different life. But then they were infiltrated and followed by the radicals and Muslims that tried to settle down and be part of the community of the West, are too frightened to even say anything. So let's get that out of the way. So there is still nice ones around, and I'm sure they're even afraid to say anything. Okay? Now, why are you so quiet over the wars that are going on in many countries and being taken over and radicalized by this 14th century Islamic cult? Not all the Muslims, I said, but these radical Muslims. Why are you quiet? Now, as I say, I'm going to show you what's happening in just 3 wars, and you need to get off your backside and do your research before you put your brain cell in action, before you start condemning people. So, in the first one, we're going to talk about Congo, okay? And let's have a prelude to that from the horse's mouth. Not me saying it, but somebody from the Congo. So, let's go there, shall we?
We need to talk about the silent genocide happening in Congo. The exploitation of Congolese people has claimed millions of lives, and the media is not talking about it at all. In fact, around every hour, 48 women are sexually assaulted. 6 million Congolese people have lost their lives over the past decade, and millions more have been displaced. Also, the Western world can continue to benefit off of Congo's natural resources like cobalt. The land of Congo has the largest amount of cobalt, which is a critical mineral used in technology. Western nations like the US, the UK, and France have given military and financial aid to groups in Rwanda and Uganda to invade cobalt-rich areas. And because of these invasions, Congolese people are either killed or enslaved and forced to mine cobalt, which includes pregnant women and children. Genocides and crimes against humanity that take place in Africa are never covered in the media as much as other events.
As you see, as that young lady just said, from the 30th to the 9th, a fresh surge of this year, 30th to the 9th of this year, 2025, a fresh surge of violence in Central and Western Africa has left Christian communities reeling, fueling growing concerns that they believe that the believers are being systematically targeted across the region, with little effective protection from the local authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC we'll call it for short. At least 64 people were brutally killed in early September when Islamist militants stormed a village of Netuyo, I think that it's pronounced like that, in the North Kivu province. Now the victims, and this is how bad it's got for them, the victims were attacked during the nighttime vigil with gunfire, hammers and selective arson used in a coordinated assault that bore the hallmarks of a premeditated act of terror. Now the perpetrators were identified as Allied Democratic Force, the ADF, a Ugandan rooted military militia aligned with the so-called Islamic State in Central African provinces. This is yet another unspeakable massacre, and the humanitarian crisis in Eastern Congo is extreme. I mean, there is people talking about it on social media, but why aren't people listening? Let's listen to somebody else who feels very bad about what's going on in the DMC.
Over 70 Christians have lost their lives in the Congo. They've been beheaded. This attack was carried out by the ADF, an Islamic group with ties to ISIS. When is this religious war going to stop? I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, I don't care. There is no reason for this to be happening. These people went to church. They got taken out of church, taken somewhere else, and they were given the option, convert or perish. And those 70 brave people stood by their religion and they perished. Why is this going on? I'm a Christian myself, and it breaks my heart to see this sort of stuff going on. But why is it still going on? And the more worrying part, why isn't this on the mainstream media? I've not seen it on BBC, ITV, Channel 4, none of the big stations. Why aren't they reporting on this? This is breaking news.
Well, again, the chap's very forthright in what he's saying, and the truth is to be told. I mean, noting that waves of displacement and relentless killings and the inability of the national and international forces to contain the insurgency have left communities in a state of constant fear. The Tuyo attack followed other atrocities. 40 killed during a July prayer service in Ituri, and more than 70 bodies, as that guy said, discovered earlier this year in a Protestant church in Lubero. Many of them have been decapitated. This includes women and children. Now, the Congolese episcopate, what a word, these repeated massacres amount to a campaign of terror against Christian and civilians alike. Now, look, I'm going to play, please read the captions on this and make your own mind up. But this should just sum up how brutal and barbaric these people really are. And I'm sure, watch it, there's a lot of background noise on this, but there is captions in English. Read them, please, and you tell me that these people are good people or try to force you into a religion you don't want to be in. If not, they're going to kill you. So barbaric to the maximum.
Alimuua wakamkata miguu miwili sivile. Sasa alimkata miguu miwili alichoma kuche wake. Asema tukwenda mkuu. Sasa sipendi na nabo. Asema taniua. Sasa vile nilala nabo. Watu walifanya violence niko na mimba ya mtoto. Kwa baba wao. Nikasema pale nikule nyama zake. Asinina itika nikaitika.
They cut off his legs. They cooked it and his private parts, and they made her eat her own husband's meat and his penis too. How barbaric is that? Any of that, I'm sure there's no God from any religion would tell you or make you do such a depraved thing. Anyway, whilst Congo grapples with the escalation, Nigeria is the second place I'm looking. Nigeria, hundreds of miles to the west, is witnessing a parallel crisis of religiously motivated violence. The Christian leaders and rights groups warn of what they describe as a slow-motion genocide in the country's north. After 3 decades documenting these abuses, clearly it's not random violence. This is extermination. Now, again, let's give some credence to this, what I'm saying, by listening to other people.
Did you guys know that 7,000 Christians have been killed just this year alone in Nigeria? There's an average of 30 to 35 Christians who are killed every single day in Nigeria. And the media has been sound asleep. There has been mass burial sites in Nigeria over and over and over again. And the world has been silent. I always tell you guys, the attack is on Christianity, so the attack is on Jesus, and it's on children, and it's always been on Jesus and children. There's no way that we're ignoring the cries and the martyrdom of Christians just because they're in another country. And then it's being done by what they call the religion of peace. Like, I just can't understand it. You gotta understand that it's coming to a theater near you. The longer you ignore it, the quicker it comes to your door. We speak up about all these other atrocities that are taking place around the world, but we choose to ignore others. This is absolute 30 to 35 Christians killed daily. That's absolutely insane, all because they believe in Jesus Christ. Now, I have already put out several stories about how, like, I've already talked about the one in August that happened where they went into a church and beheaded 200 people. And I'm just like, dude, like, what is going on? Y'all have to understand that this will be the whole entire world at some point. So speak up on it. Speak up.
Notice he said this will be the whole world at some point. Please understand what's going on in your own countries. You're accepting this. In fact, Britain is paying to be taken over. They're paying people to take them over. They're giving them special rights, dispensations, blasphemy law that covers their religious books, but not Christians or Sikh or Hindu or Buddhists. They're not protected under these laws. Just one. I'm doing that signal there. One religion that is getting the protection. Why? I don't know why it's happening. Is it part of the Great Replacement? I don't know. But recently, going back to this, recently released report estimates that some 40 million Christians in northern Nigeria are forced to practice their faith in secrecy, often praying at night to avoid being accused of blasphemy. An accusation that can be, which can lead to their death. Now, the Nigerian state is accused not only of negligence, but of complicity, just like the UK and Europe, complicity pointing to years of unchecked attacks by Boko Haram, Islamic State in the West African province and the radicalised Fulani militias. Claims that under the administration of the former president Mohammunda, I'm terrible with these names, Borai, militant groups are consolidated territorial control and intensified the effort to Islamatize the region. Some words, tongue twisters, but listen, I'm not going to jib about this. It's very serious, and you must understand. Now, statistics are sobering. Since 2015, I mean, listen to what else they're doing. Since 2015, at least 145 Catholic priests have been abducted, though the number is realistically closer to 250, with hundreds of other ministers targeted. More than 850 Christians are believed to remain in captivity in Kaduna State alone, many within the sight of military installations. So they're keeping prisoners, and the government's bases are there, but they're doing nothing. Reports suggest that over 100 hostages held there since December 2024 have already been executed. Does it all ring a bell with you, people? Do you understand what's happening there? And meanwhile, it was a booming trade. Kidnapping economy has emerged, and the recent intelligence study counted 4,722 abductions between July 24 and June 25, generating ransoms worth millions of dollars. Now, priests' families, often under immense pressure, quietly pay for the release, despite the official church policy is against payment of ransom. They've even stolen the clerical vehicles, sold off the black market for substantial sums, and the Nigerian bishops' public denunciations are risky in an environment where entire parishes have been emptied out by fear. Unmistakable mass displacements, burning of churches, and targeted killings suggest a deliberate campaign to raise the Christian presence from large swathes of the Congo and Nigeria. Now, let's hear somebody else's voice who's good at, it's not just that I read these things. I study what's going on before I make my videos. But I'd like you to listen to this person.
If you love the world and you want to see a better world, your interest is not just free Palestine. I mean, there are more people dying in Nigeria than are dying in Palestine. I can tell you that last year alone, over 500,000 Christians were killed in Nigeria just in 1 year. And nobody's protesting. The activists are not saying anything. For me, that's hypocrisy. In the north of Nigeria, Christians are being killed daily because the Islamic militants don't want Christians to exist in the north of Nigeria. They want to see a world where there are no Christians at all. And they want to conquer not just Nigeria, they want to conquer Africa, they want to conquer Europe, and they want to conquer America. The younger generation who want to live in a better world must speak out today. And I'm calling on all advocates of a free world to speak out.
That guy says it all, doesn't he, when he says at the end, they don't just want to conquer Africa, they want to capture America, they want to capture Europe, they want it all. That message has been coming out of mosques all over Europe. In fact, I've in my videos, I have actually got the priests calling for, the takeover of England, the takeover of Europe, and they can because that's the law, and they're compelled to do it in the name of their God, and they can do what they like with the non-believers. Convert or get hurt or die. Now, that's Nigeria, and that's also Congo. But recently there was a takeover from Assad, from a nasty regime in Syria, wasn't there? But what's happening there? What's happening in Syria to the Christians who live there and have always lived there? You know, there's been abominable massacres of Christians and the Alawites in Syria. Alawites are Christians too, I think, a type of Christian. And the urgent need for an immediate and decisive EU response. The recent massacres in Syria, which 1,300 people, most of them civilians from the Alawite minority and Christians, were killed by Islamic security forces. It constitutes crimes against humanity and cannot go unanswered. The heinous attack against Christian minorities shows the true colours of the new government, which was formed from a group that has radical Islamic origins. Now, you don't have to believe me, but you might believe a priest. Please, can you read the captions of what this priest is saying about the genocide that's going on in Syria?
إن الأحداث الدامية التي تحصل في الساحل السوري قد خلفت العديد من القتلى والجرحى من المدنيين ومن قوات الأمن العام، ولكن أولئك القتلى ليسوا جميعهم من فلول النظام، بل إن غالبيتهم من المدنيين الأبرياء والعزل ومن النساء ومن الأطفال. لقد انتهكت حرمات الناس وكراماتهم، وإن الصيحات والهتافات التي تستخدم تبث التفرقة وتؤدي إلى النزعة الطائفية وزعزعة السلم الأهلي. كما أن العديد من المدن والبلدات والقرى قد أحرقت بيوتها وسرقت محتوياتها، وكانت المناطق المستهدفة هي أماكن العلويين والمسيحيين، وقد سقط أيضا العديد من القتلى المسيحيين الأبرياء. للأسف لقد أجبر سكان بعض المناطق على مغادرة منازلهم، ثم تم رميهم بالرصاص وقتلهم، ومن ثم سرقة بيوتهم وممتلكاتهم وسياراتهم، كما حدث في بانياس حي القصور على سبيل المثال.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you can't read, he talks about how the militia go in and they take the people out of their houses, they shoot them, they behead them, and then they take their property, their cars and their houses. Now, while Europe stands by and watches, as a positive observer, Christian communities and other minorities in Syria face an existential threat, adding to the long list of persecution in the region. Considering the unquestionable responsibility the EU has to protect minorities and combat religious persecution, so can the Commission, who are responsible for this, answer the following questions? Why has it still not firmly condemned these massacres, calling them by their real name, i.e. ethnic cleansing and genocide against Christians and Alawites? 2. What immediate and specific measures will it take to put an end to the bloodshed and ensure the protection of the remaining Christians and Alawite communities in Syria? And 3. When will it finally acknowledge the obvious danger posed by the spread of radical Islam in the region and effectively measure to protect European values and religious freedom? It's not just a case of Syria or Congo or Nigeria or other parts of Africa. So many wars are being waged against Christians by this Islamic death cult, as I call it. And for me, something's got to stop. And for me, Europe has to act now before it's too late. Stop protecting the radical people that want to take over your country. The government of the countries of Europe must start to grow a pair of cojones and deal with it and help the Muslim people who want to live in peace in them countries, help them too. They don't want to go back to live in them regimes, I'm sure. And their children certainly want to go back and live in that horrible regime. So it's not just for the white Caucasian or the white Christian, or it's for every other religion on this earth that has to be annihilated and be replaced by just one religion. That's what they strive for. So if you're a Sikh, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Buddhist, if you're an evangelist, if you're a Mormon, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, whoever you are, whatever religion you follow, and you follow the Bible and God, which unfortunately I don't have religion, I'm sorry to say, but I believe that everybody should be able to worship in peace in whichever way and whichever faith they follow. But that's not the goal of these people. The goal of these people is to destroy your religion and only have one religion in the world. Now, I don't know, we've got about, 3 billion people who are Christian in the world, and we've got about 2.5 billion Muslims. It's only round about, it's about 25% that really hate you, because the others want to live in peace. I met and know many Muslim people who are afraid to speak out, but they live their life differently. They go out for a cheeky beer here and there. But they follow their religion too, not as fanatics, but they follow their religion. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. What I'm saying basically is, it has to stop, and it has to stop now, because time is running out for everybody. Just one more clip, this one I want to play. It's kind of last word from a Syrian woman who happens to be a Christian woman, and her fear.
بعمتك أهلي أمي إخوالي رفقاتي حارتي الجيران أنا خايفة على الكل حرام في عالم ما صنبا والله في عالم ما صنبا من وين أنت؟ أنا من جدة جارنا تحت بيتنا فتح الباب قال لهم فوتوا فتشوا وصوا قدام مرته بناته اثنين صغار اسمه حسام حبيب.
The fear in that woman, multiply that by thousands of others who live in that region. Put yourself in their place, which shortly, if you're not careful, you will be. And where do you think you would be? How would you think you would feel? Would you feel like that lady, or would you just let it take over you? For me, I live in a country where at the moment we don't have any of this, but most of Europe, and we do have in certain places now, even here in Spain, some unrest of sorts, but nothing like you've got in Italy and France and Germany and the UK. It has to stop. In Dearborn in America, which is almost completely Islamic. Donald Trump's got to sort that out too. Anyway, it's my final thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video and you understand what I said. None of this is made up. None of it's like ad-libbed. I do study these things before I start to speak. If you want to get in touch with me and for your observations and anything that you might have to say, you know, like the videos, dislike them, do whatever you want. I want to hear from you. The socials are there on the screen. You can email me at bestbeforetv@gmail.com or at X, bestbeforet. All right? And you can go to the website and watch the television programs, all the vintage TV programs, or go to the old Git page, that's me, and dogs are barking now. Go to the old Git page and you can actually watch these videos there, and Rumble and other places too. Oh, and of course YouTube. Take care now. That's me. I'm finished with this. Hopefully I've educated you a little bit, but until the next time, have a great day and stay safe.